Here we have verse 66 of the 6th chapter of the Gospel of John. Jesus has been saying some hard things in this bread of life discourse. He's said things that were offensive on the face of it. Unless you eat my flesh and drink my blood. There was some sense of resistance to that because of the rather gruesome images that it conjured up, even though Jesus was obviously speaking sacramentally. He also has made it clear that not everybody can come to him. This, of course, is a little contrary to popular opinion, but the fact of the matter is, Jesus says it twice, and he says it quite explicitly, no one can come to me unless the Father draws him, drags him, and again he just said in the previous verse, verse 65, no one can come unless it is given to him by the Father. And almost as if to illustrate the point, to drive the point home, we have this verse 66, in which it seems that the truth of what he has just said is more or less made evident in what in fact happens. Because what we hear is ek, the preposition, of course, out of, takes the genitive, which we have here, tuto. This is the demonstrative pronoun, genitive, singular, neuter. So out of this, that is to say, out of this statement, or as a result of this statement, poloi. This is an adjective. It means much or many. In this case, it's plural, masculine, plural, nominative. And so as a result of this many, and then tone, the genitive, plural, masculine, many of the matheton disciples out to of him. So as a result of this saying, many of his disciples, apeilthon. This is from aperkamai. The word erkamai itself means to come or to go. With the prefix aperkamai, it means to go away. And that's the sense here. This is the third person plural, aorist, second aorist verb, aorist active indicative. So many of his disciples went away. They had been disciples. They'd been following along. Some of them had participated in the feeding of the 5,000 the previous day. But now, as we reach this critical point in which Jesus is disclosing the real nature of redemption, they go away. They went ace. This is the preposition takes the accusative, ace ta. This is back to the opiso is the word here. It's an indeclinable adverb. It just means back. They just went back. The sense of it is simply going back to their previous places. And I think at least impliedly, it says it's going back to their previous lives. They'd entertained a thought or two about Jesus. They'd had somewhat grandiose delusions about what exactly his life might mean, but now that they're confronted with these rather mysterious and somewhat offensive propositions that he's setting before them, they're just going to go back. They're going to take up life the way it once was. Kai and uketi, adverb, no longer. They no longer met. The preposition takes the genitive, in this case, met out to with him. Peripatun. This is the third person plural, imperfect active indicative. So they were no longer walking with him. It's like this was the final straw. When Jesus makes this statement that no one can come to him unless it's given to him of the Father, and that in some ways that is the great defining aspect of what it is to be a follower of Christ, is that it was something given. It's a gift from God. It's not some native virtue or intelligence, but it's something that comes from God himself. This seems to be, on top of everything else that's happened in this chapter, sufficient to send them away, and they're going to go back to their previous lives. And he's really left at this point, the impression we have from John's account is just left with his immediate disciples, the 12, and he's going to carry on a conversation with them in these next few verses that close out this chapter 6.